Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome inside our continuing coverage. 2019 PWBA Sonoma County Open. Emil Williams Jr. here with you, along with Brant Houghton, Curtis Von Kruger, Terry Bigham, and our entire tournament staff, including Tennille Milligan, Kathy Wadka, and Kathy Kavicki. Big thanks to Double Decker Lanes. Jim Decker, the proprietor here at Double Decker. Dennis, our GM. Chris and Craig for all of their hard work this week as well. And Gary, our mechanic back there. All of the volunteers. This is the round of 32. 16 games of qualifying. Took place yesterday. And as of course many of you know, because you watched most of it here on Bowl TV, Missy Parkin led the entire day. There were a few times where she relinquished the lead during a block, but recaptured and hung on to said lead after round number 1, which included a 299 game at the end of her block final game of round 1, and then took care of business in round number 2. She sits at plus 479. Plus 479 after 16 games. And that's a pretty sizable advantage, but we've seen leads dissipate certainly over the course of several blocks, and we've got a long way to go certainly today. But Parkin again at plus 479, 120 pins is her lead over Shayna Ung, who is second. Shayna from Singapore at plus 359. Jen Higgins is third at plus 313. And if you haven't already, posted a very, very solid interview. Quite inspirational if you take what you need to hear from it. Maybe, if necessary, apply it to perhaps anything that you have gone through in your life or are going through. I would encourage you to check that out on the PWBA Facebook page. Long story short, Jen battled an infection, kidney infection that was pretty severe. Kept her out, or kept her in the hospital for some time. And then, of course, she came back after being well enough, then pulled a muscle. Her first event in Cleveland. And now, right now, sitting in third place. Had an excellent round number 2. Went plus 248 for 8 games last night. But anyway, check out the story. Great piece of work there from Curtis Von Kruger and Terry Bigham yesterday. And if Twitter would have cooperated with me, both early or last night and early this morning, at some point we'll get it on Twitter, but social media was not cooperating. Nonetheless, full video is available on the PWBA Facebook page. We'll upload it a little later also to Bowl TV. So I have multiple opportunities to check that out. Valerie Bercier is 4th at plus 291. Giselle Poss is 5th at plus 240. Sandra Gongora is 6th at plus 219. Diana Zavyalova is 7th at plus 216. Stephanie Johnson is 8th at plus 213. It's a tie for 9th with Julia Bond and Danielle McEwen at plus 209. The number to make the round of 32 last night was plus 62. That number belonged to Shaina Saraus, a non-member who has made a show, as we've talked about yesterday. Karen Rosbrum, also another non-member who made the show, or excuse me, who made the round of 32. She was 31st at plus 63. Karen finished 6th last year, or excuse me, in 2017. She is from Albany, California, just an hour and some change away from where we are now here in Rohnert Park, California. Jordan Richard, Shannon Puhalski, Liz Colkin on 29 and 30. Bernice Lim, New Wave Finn, and Jody Wessner on 31 and 32. Okay, good morning to all. Open frame there for Puhalski. Talked to Shannon a little bit before the block started, and she had a tale of really 2 blocks, but and honestly, her first 3 games, she came out the gates with 769. If I recall correctly. And so obviously, you know, when you start that well, it looked like she was on her way to a big day. But then all of a sudden, as she said, the pins or the balls just started going or stopped going through the pins in the way they had been in the first 3 games. And so, you know, took what she could and moved on. And there's a great shot there, solid 9-pin. Hashtag Team No 9-pin. Then the round number 2 was tricky for everybody. They played a little bit more difficult, tougher, flatter. And several right-handers actually started last night's block a little further left, where Shannon was playing at the time, where she was having some success, would put her ball path directly in the middle, obviously, of what the righties were doing. And then as she tried to make a move left, as Jody Wessner gets a nice break, that's a 3-bagger. Try to make a move left, well, the gutters don't tend to play here at double-decker lanes, meaning it's generally not a typical preferred place to play where you can sustain some solid ball reaction here at double-decker lanes. So that left her with, as you can imagine, not a lot of room to spare, no pun intended. So her goal last night was literally just to try to get 9 and hang on to a spot in the round of 32, and she was able to do so. So it was not it wasn't anything physical. She didn't bowl bad. But as you've heard before, sometimes you just can't out-bowl the bad ball reaction. And that is what she had a little bit of last night. Jordan Richards shot the only 300 to this point. We mentioned Missy Parkins, 299. Richard shot 300 in Game 6 last night. Jay Rich was struggling a little bit. Not that type of talent. Only keep it down for so long. Way had the front 9 yesterday as well. Ended up shooting 279. She's going to start the day in the 2 teens. Every day, every time that pattern is laid out, it's a little different. Kelly Kulik off to a good start. She's got right now 5 in a row. And 1 more will put her in the 240s to kick off game number 1 this morning. Of course, our next cut will be to the round of 12. 8 games will get us to the round of 12. Shannon O'Keefe was outside of the number for several games during qualifying yesterday, but did what she had to do to make this cut. She is the defending champion. All right, 215 for Way. Missy has started the day down on the low end. So the first pair that is in use today. So we'll get an update and see how she's fared here in just a few minutes as game one is coming to an end here this morning. It's already an interesting kind of top 5, top 10 when you look at the standings. And obviously we're cutting to the top 12. Of course, we've had 4 different winners so far on the PWBA Tour in 2019. And that could remain true. .188 for Bernice Lim. Singapore with 5 players advancing to the round of 32 this morning. Quality shot there for Liz Colkin. You can see the type of, sometimes the pins can be very friendly here at double-decker lanes. You can get a head pin to just kind of lay on the sidewall there, and other centers where they'll lay and just kind of barely touch the 10 pin, and they won't fall in other centers. They will fall here. 232 for Jay Rich. And 212 for Jody Wessner. Colkin decided to take that opportunity and try a different bowling ball. All right, we're off to game number 2. We'll make some adjustments, and we'll be back with you momentarily here on Bowl TV.
cute version of Blanca, and apparently Blanquita is cocaine in PWBA. What? I was just looking for a cute name. Blanquita. I'll have to do. I'm gonna go today, even though I don't want to.
Game 2 underway. First look at updated standings, and as appropriately pointed out in the chat, Missy shot 267, and at this point, and again, important to note that she bookended her round 1 with 276 and 299, so she's been solid all around on both the fresh, certainly the burn, or not the burn, excuse me, later in blocks. Front 7 for Julia Bond, who is currently 8th at plus 222. And Julia was certainly expected to be a bit disappointed last week, and so they cut at the Queens, but always taking things as a learning experience, and has come right back this week. And really in contention here, as everyone is at this point. Oh my. Terrible break there for Ashley Galante. So Parkin at plus 546. Shayna Ung second at plus 369. So if you kind of take into account, we got 7 more games in the round of 12. Then at that point you're looking at potentially the runaway and hide situation. It's always too early to start thinking about those kind of things. But it certainly could be in play for Parkin if she continues on the run that she is on. Valerie Bercier is third at plus 338. Jen Higgins is fourth at plus 328. Sandra Gongora fifth at plus 249. SG was disappointed in her performance at the Queens as well. Good shot there from McEwen. So Gongora back in business. Runner-up in Lincoln prior to the queens. Diana Zavjalova is 6th at plus 246. It was very late last night, and many of you, I'm sure, had already gone to sleep as we awaited the cut number to be announced for the round of 32. But I briefly spoke with Diana on the air, and she just talked about things felt great today or yesterday, and started to really come together, although she felt like she wasn't really bowling bad or throwing it bad the first couple of stops, and she had made some changes to her game in the offseason, and really felt like she was going to get off to a good note, but she's feeling pretty good right now, as is Julia Bond. She's got the front 8. Stephanie Johnson is 7th at plus 238. Giselle Poss 9th at plus 215. Deandra Asbeatty is 10th at plus 205. And a tie for 11th, Jordan Richard and Sydney Brummett at plus 197. So a few pins out. Here is Danielle McEwen. After the split in the 6th, McEwen looking for a double. And that one goes high. She leaves at 3-6. Already seeing some different bowling balls just from what I've noticed. Players that were throwing some things yesterday. So changes being made. What a shot there. What a messenger by Camila Dammers-Nadal. Many of you commented yesterday about Camila and Tashina, both from Aruba, and about their talent and their games, and both obviously now have advanced to the round of 32. Bond through the nose in the 9th frame, 6, 7, 10. All right, D-Mac will take that break. Next week we're heading to Tucson, Arizona. My first experience in Tucson was just for a site visit several months ago. I look forward to coming back. Following Tucson will be the Fountain Valley Open. And then it'll be U.S. Women's Open time. Shot there from Galante. Let's see how many pins Ashley will need to make up here today. Right now she is plus 104 and 27th. Yeah, 93. 93 pins is what she would need to make up from this moment as Bond enters the 10th frame. A tough spare for Julia to take care of in the 10th frame. Always one of those situations where you lead the split in the 9th. Certainly want to throw a good shot in the 10th. And then, which that spare could have been a bit more difficult with the 7-pin remaining. But she gets a little break there, leaves a 2-8. A shot there from Galante. Let's see if Ashley can make a run here today. Jen Higgins get to 239. Bond on the fill. I'm going to guess she probably felt she threw that one pretty good. Same result. She will move off this pair, but she'll gain 54 pins. Or 53, I should say. For Bond, she'll increase certainly her total. Moving toward solidifying a spot in the round of 12. And perhaps inching closer to the top 4. Again, we'll take the top 4 to the stepladder finals. Another quality shot there from McEwen. And a 9-pin. Yeah, to this morning, certainly not what we saw Friday morning, 100% on the fresh. So a touch different, as many of you tend to have pointed out already. Ball change on the field for McEwen. Another solid shot. D-Mac just literally just kind of goes about her business, man. Shot after shot. Doing what she does. She threw some good shots there, but only results in 216. So game 2 is in the books. And things started to develop, if you will. Sandra Gongora now in the 220s. One more and she will be in the 230s. And Jelimar Beasley making the round of 32 this week here in Sonoma. Also on that pair, that's 27 and 28 if you'd like to check that out. But while we have a moment, as we await our next pairs, the next players here on 29 through 32. Talked about Missy Parkin and her day yesterday. And we caught up with her after round 1. So here's Missy Parkin after round 1 of competition, of qualifying yesterday here on Bowl TV.
First of all, just start off with the fact you got off to a fine start this morning. I mean, that obviously set the tone for your day, I hope. Right?
Yes, absolutely. It's always a lot easier when you get off to a good start because, you know, your swing loosens up, and I was able to execute a lot better, which in this building is key.
Yes, you've obviously probably bowled in this building a few times. Not the easiest building at times. It seems like they're very different. They can be very different compared to very different.
Yes, this place has always been tricky. I have bowled in the center quite a lot. Beyond just the PBA events or the PWBA events that we've had, I've bowled some PBA regional events prior to that, and they're always hard. They're always low scoring, and it is the fact that pair to pair is very difficult. So it is key when you get to a new pair to throw good shots so that you can get a good read and then make the proper adjustments. And quite a lot of the pairs, I was playing them differently from lane to lane.
Yeah, but you say, I mean, obviously, the best thing to do is stay consistent throughout the day, which you were able to maintain. You didn't have any really horrible games, did you?
Yeah, no, and that's,
can happen.
Yes, that can definitely happen. So I did have a game that I bailed out a 201, which that's always awesome when you can say you bailed out a 200 game. Usually you're bailing out 170 or 180. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with that.
Then, of course, you get to the end of your block, so very nice bookend.
Yes.
So tell us what happened in that game.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I was also actually playing those two lanes about 3.5 different from each other with my feet. So I wasn't playing them the same. I got really lucky that I got good reads early from the people I was bowling with and myself, and I was able to make the proper adjustments early on in that game, and it worked out.
Yes, and except you missed one pin on the last shot.
I know, and I really liked that shot. I thought I threw it good. But hey, it happens. I feel very fortunate that I am able to have my family out here with me while I'm competing. Somebody's always with me, usually with my son out here. This week, my husband was fortunate enough to come, so it's awesome that my husband and my son are here. It really does take a village, because with my travel schedule and competing every week, week in and week out, I really do need a lot of support, and I'm really grateful for everybody that has helped.
All right, Valerie Bercier, Karen Rosbrum, and Jen Higgins. And Jelimar Beasley, Giselle Poss, and Sandra Gungora. Shot there from Rosbrum. She wraps a 10 pin. Here's Gongora. Bang. If you are just tuning in, this is Game 3. Round of 32 here. Rohnert Park, California, double-decker lanes. PWBA Sonoma County Open. My name is Emil Williams Jr. And here with Brant Howden, Terry Bigham, Curtis Von Kruger. Big shout out to our tournament staff, Director of Operations, USBC Hall of Famer Tennille Milligan. With PWBA Tour Champion Kathy Watka and Kathy Kavicki. High flush there for Sandra Gongora. Talked about last night players beginning a block a little further left. That seems to be certainly the case this morning, particularly right-handers, of course. Jen Higgins did a lot of that last night. I want to give a shout out to Shayna Ung as well. Shayna, of course, just out-dueled ever so slightly by Missy Parkin in round number 1. But Shayna had a block of plus 260 in round 1 for 8 games. Of course, Parkin went plus 319 for 8 in round number 1. And if I am correct, those 3 blocks, again from Missy, Shayna, and Jen Higgins, the 3 highest 8-game blocks we've seen this week. A good shot there from Bercier. You saw that one begin to make a serious move down lane. I'm speaking of Gongora. As that one looked to be pretty good and online, and it hit a spot down lane. And it slowed down just enough to where Sandra's going to have to work with a 4-pin. Jordan Richard, just from observation, and she was here game 1, has thrown a few more strikes than she's done so far, I feel, yesterday. And she threw them late and was able to find some stuff, but she looks pretty confident this morning, and that's always scary. Trouble there for Rostam after she missed a single pin in the 3rd. And now a 4-6-7. Here from Karen, the former Fresno State collegiate player, first-team All-American by the National Collegiate Bowling Coaches Association. Karen and I bowled in the same collegiate time frame. Valerie's shot looks to be, it's probably not, but it looks kind of like a bit of a fallback. Not giving away the head pin a lot, even though she's playing in and keeping that angle really straight through the front part of the lane. All of the answers that some have mentioned in that chat are correct, sir. Appreciate everyone's knowledge. There is Angelimar. Oh, ultimate penalty right there. That's one thing we've also noticed here at Double Decker. It's hard to break down splits sometimes. If you go in a head first through the nose, if you just go sliding into, well, home, head first, there is not a lot of room to break down splits. You kind of pay the ultimate price so far that I've seen. Gongora back on it in the fourth. It's amazing how global bowling really is. You get a chance to watch it on a weekly basis here on tour. What I mean by that is Valerie Bercier from Canada and Jelimar Beasley from Venezuela. Of course, we often talk about Team Singapore, Team Malaysia. We've had two of the best from Aruba here this week. Sandra Gongora on this pair represents Team Mexico. To our right, Diana Zavyalova from Latvia. That's just in the round of 32. Of course, Malaysia not here this week. But those competing in the round of 32, Colombia, just countries speaking of Colombia, Singapore, Venezuela, Mexico, Latvia. Good shot there. Canada. Dasha Kovalova, of course, from Ukraine. And obviously the United States. Jen Higgins, by the way, with 5 in a row. Giselle Paul's got a really good chance of, at some point within the next, I would say, 3 to 5 years, being one of the top players on this tour. Front 6 there for Higgins. Her power, to me, is just a touch different, and I don't know what, in her situation, what makes it slightly different, but her power to me is just a little bit different than what we maybe see from other players, how she generates. If you watch her release, it's so quick. It's like a quick twitch. Missy Parkin, 3-bagger. We'll get into some scores here in just a second. Yes, indeed, Tony. Daria is from Poland, but I was only referring to those countries represented right now in the round of 32, just in this round. But you are certainly correct overall. Higgins looking for 7 in a row. That's got to push. 3, 6, 9, 10. Five games to go in this 8-game block here in the round of 32. Certainly plenty to be decided and determined. All right, here's Poss. Giselle from suburban Chicago. Originally, but now makes her home in Nashville, Tennessee. She went to Vanderbilt and has remained in the city of Nashville. Grew up in the western suburbs, Montgomery, near Aurora. I feel that's slightly wrong. Maybe it's Oswego. That is what Gongora was able to avoid a few frames back on that right lane. At that time, not so much. So some moves to be made on lane 32. Higgins back on it in frame 8, a 4-bagger for Rostrom, who has battled back after consecutive opens in frames 3 and 4 on 29 and 30. This round always tends to seem like it's slower paced. Nice shot there. Well, we've seen some spares made on lane 32 this week. Of course, the 7-10 from Jazreal Tan, and now a very nice conversion on the 3-6 7-10 by Gongora. Five-bagger. And Karen Rostrom not wasting any time, not playing around with the lanes. Front to back to the 1-3, no questions asked. 10 on the board. Boy, you can't split the 8-9 any better than what Valerie Bercier just did. Sometimes I'll watch these players throw shots, and I don't really have the proper words. Sometimes there just aren't any words to describe some of the shots that they throw because they literally are that good. That was an amazing shot by Valerie Bercier. Jen Higgins, 8 out of 9. The lone blemish, the 3-6 9-10. Ball change for Gongora. 7 pin will not go. For Ross, we'll take a quick look at the standings. Misty still on top, plus 513. Shayna Ung second at plus 406. Jen Higgins third at plus 343. Valerie Bercier fourth at plus 340. Julia Bond is fifth at plus 275. Sandra Gongora is sixth at plus 274. Stephanie Johnson is seventh at plus 261. Sydney Brummett is eighth at plus 240. Jordan Richard is ninth at plus 235. Tough break here for Angelimar Beasley. Zabialova is 10th at plus 221. Danielle McEwen is 11th at plus 210. And Deandra Asbeatty right now, 12th at plus 202. Daphne Tan, a couple pins out of the number right now at plus 200. Giselle Poss has gone 175, 184. And Giselle was fifth coming into today at plus 240. And Poss so far, I won't say struggling yet. From what I've seen, she has thrown some good shots. She's had some bad breaks, but she's missed a couple spares. So Poss right now 14th at plus 199. Kelly Kulik 15th at plus 194. Jody Wessner is 16th at plus 181. Rosbrom gave it away just a touch. Cover a few boards. Oh my goodness gracious. Mercy. Hashtag Team No A Pin. By the time this year is done, folks, you will despise the A Pin just as much as I do. Because every time you leave one, every time you see one left, you're going to hear my voice in your head. Go, oh my goodness. And then you all can tweet me and say, hashtag Team No A Pin, and I will respond immediately. All right, Gongora makes the spare. I wonder what the percentage of, or the likelihood over the course of one's career. As Jen Higgins, another dynamite shot, she wraps a 10 this time. Jen will be in the 260s. But after a leave like that, like an 8 or a 9 pin for righty lefty, what the percentage is of missing the spare because of the frustration level. Gongora, if you recall, had her spare game working in the stepladder finals in Lincoln. I think at one point, I believe it was the semifinal match, she had left 5 or 6 consecutive 9 counts. 4 or 5 of them were 10 pins. Quality game there for Gongora. 212. 182 for Beasley. Big shout out to the PBA. Deborah, appreciate you tuning in to us and the PBA this morning. It is a good day for bowling. The PBA playoffs live on Fox. The semifinals. The finals will take place tomorrow. $100,000, the top prize. Great work by the PBA, Tom Clark, Dave Schroeder, Janae Haggerty, and everyone involved there. And certainly Fox. So we appreciate your support of the sport in both PBA and PWBA competition. All right, pause. So enter the right of your screen and just watch the release. Watch the power, and it's not muscle. It's just a quick trigger at the bottom. Boss will finish things out. Just a quick note on what Deborah said in the chat on Chris Prather. Superstar right there, in my opinion. He is an exceptional player. All right, Boss is in the books with 195 in game number 3. Quick update on Missy Parkin while we have a moment to check her out. She's got a fill shot. It'll be on the left side of your screen on 28. And Missy shoots 212. China Sorouse on that pair shot 257. Shayna Ung 204. All right, we're headed to game number 4. We will welcome Clara Guerrero, Daphne Tan. Actually, no, we won't. I'm one game ahead. We will welcome Sherry Tan, Kayla Bandy, and Kelly Kulick on 29 and 30. And on 31 and 32, Shannon O'Keefe, your defending champion, and Brianna Cote. Back with you in just a moment here on Bowl TV. Game 4 is underway. O'Keefe, Cote, again, Kulik, Tan, Sherry Tan, that is, and Bandy. All right, after 19 complete in 3 games this morning. Missy Parkin at +525, still your leader. Shayna Ung, second at +410. Jen Higgins, third at +408. Valerie Bercier, fourth at +351. Stephanie Johnson is fifth at +293. Sandra Gongora is sixth at +286. Sydney Brummett. Keep your eye on Sydney Kidd. She has been in, for the most part, the top 10. I think she finished 12th last night. After qualifying was complete, she did. But she was around the top 10 for just about, or for the majority of yesterday. So keep your eye on her. Julia Bond is 8th at +268. Deandra Asbeatty is 9th at +238. Daphne Tan 10th at +227. Jordan Richard 11th at +215. Danielle McEwen, now the cut number at +204 with Diana Zavgalova. After back-to-back 170 games, 13th now at +198. All right, Cote with 3 in a row, and finally O'Keefe. After a few frames without striking. Back at it in the 6th frame. Cote. And a four pin, excuse me, for Bree, who she had a little mishap with her spare ball yesterday. If you guys follow Gigi Mason on social media, after the Twin Cities stop, maybe she had a chunk come out of her spare ball. She posted that on social media. I'm not sure if Bree posted her spare ball yesterday on social, but it looked very similar. The chunk that kind of came out at the bottom, kind of bottom left where the thumb hole is. And so it happened very early, actually during practice, she said, for round one, so very early in the morning. So she had enough time to get a ball drilled, and so it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But she did go 130, 140. So not necessarily missing spares, but more about just the mental roller coaster that she was on briefly. Trying to figure out, hey, can she get a spare ball done? And her spare ball is 15 pounds. There were no 14-pound spare balls available. And of course, Cote, you guys have listened and watched the last few events. We've the common question one of the common questions that comes up often is what ball weight a lot of the players use, and we've covered Brianna Cote's switch from 15 to 14 last season. So that's what she's had to deal with this week, and managed to right the ship a little bit, bowl well last night, and including the rest of round one, by the way, to get herself certainly a check. Shannon trying to find some magic here. Nearly halfway home through this block. And O'Keefe will need something major to make a run at the top 12. Meanwhile, Missy Parkin and Shayna Ung really, really moving closer to some good looks at not only the round of 12, but beyond. Missy with a six-bagger currently as she heads into the 10th frame. She can get to 257. Shayna Ung, first one in the 10th. She is now in the 260s. She can max out at 279. It's rare to see Shannon fall off a shot or throw one that certainly is not up to par. But a little footing there, but you don't see it very often. There's Kulik. You see she has moved in. If you recall, Shayna Ung, last year at this event, after winning the Las Vegas Open, to open up the season. Another one in the 10th for Shayna, and she's going to be in the 270s. Shayna made the show here at Sonoma County And she could have made it back-to-back. She was the number 2 seed, but lost to Shannon O'Keefe in the semifinals, 214 to 186. So of the players competing this week who made that show, and I'm speaking of the 2018 Sonoma County Open, Shannon O'Keefe certainly is in the round of 32 at the moment, would be out of the round of 12. Shayna Ung is trying to run down Missy Parkin, and they're on the pair. They're crossing with each other. Of course, the way it goes from the cross perspective, it's the first 2 players at the top and then one of the players at the bottom of the standing. So in that case, Missy was number 1, Shayna was number 2, and then they took the 32nd qualifier, and they crossed together for this round. And so on and so forth. But Missy not going away, certainly. She's in the 240, so keep an eye. Oh, we'll keep an eye on those 2. I don't think there's any doubt Missy likes to bowl at home, I should say, in the state of California. Home, of course, for her, Laguna Hills, but in SoCal, we'll be there in a couple more weeks. But as you mentioned in our post-round 1 story, that Missy has bowled in the center numerous occasions, not just on the PWBA, but she's bowled several PBA regionals here, and has a very keen understanding of the characteristics and how things work here at Double Decker Lanes. Kulik on the fill. All right, Kelly leaves the shaker 8. Kayla Bandy who at one point yesterday was kind of in that mix where you say, wow, Kayla is about to make some serious things happen. She went on a very nice run in round number 1. Ended up qualifying 19th yesterday, and now finds herself after 3 games in 28th. A 97 for Kayla, 213 for Sherry Tan, 195 for Kelly Kulik, 203 for Cote. .184 for Shannon, and we're off to game number 5. Can't get enough bowling, folks? I know you can't, and neither can we. That's why we're here on Bowl TV. But be sure to listen into the Out of Range podcast with Tony Franklin, Derek Hardnell, and Matt McFadden as they talk about everything on the lanes and off with some of the game's biggest stars stopping by each week. That is located on our Backstage channel on BowlTV.com. Again, the Out of Range podcast with Tony Franklin, Derek Hartnell, and Matt McFadden. You can watch it live, or listen live on BowlTV.com/backstage. Brenda, I am going to, if I can remember, I'm going to let Giselle know that she has fans on Bowl TV. And so I'm going to try to remember to let her know that she's got some support from you and others. Again, Sydney Brummett, Clara Gardeno, Daphne Tan, Dasha Kovalova, Deandra Asbeatty, and Liz Johnson. As we begin Game 5. Oh, sorry, Brenda. Kelly. Well, I'll let Kelly know. I do feel that Giselle has a lot of fans from our Bowl TV viewership, so I'll let her know still. We hope your afternoon is off to an excellent start. If it is the afternoon, maybe it's the evening where you are. Maybe it's morning where you are. All right, coming up shortly, we'll have another trivia question for you. This one's might be a little tough. Might require some research. But that's coming up in just a couple of games, so keep your eyes peeled to the screen. You're on Bowl TV. All right, Clara G. Clara Juliana Guerrero. She too was in a very familiar setting last week in Wichita. Certainly made the show and felt all the better to have the support of the Wichita faithful there, a place where she spent several years competing and honing her skills for the Shockers. Her husband Josh was able to come down, make the drive, of course, from the Pflugerville, Texas area where they reside. Clara looked very good on television. Her game was top-notch, and you can just see it. You can hear the emotion, some of the reactions to, or post-shot reactions, I should say. It was very good to see Clara being able to perform on the stage that she has been used to performing on. At such the high level. Her time on Team Columbia, two-time World Cup champion. Oh, wow. Oh. Oh. That one hurt a little bit more because Sid really liked that one. Like, she aced that shot. All right, we get a good look here at Dasha Kovalova. The queen, who will be reigning at least for a full calendar year. Talk about showing emotion and having some personality. That was on display for Dasha on the television show. All right, there's your trivia question. Who's the first woman to win a PWBA title at an event that was held in the state of California? Phyllis Nataro, Pat Costello, Marion Ladewig, or Donna Adamick. That's a tough question. I told you it was going to be a tough one. That would require some research. The maestro did his research. I'll give you a hint though. It could be found on PWBA.com. Just looking around. Let's see. Jody Westner with 6 out of 7. Shannon Pluhowski on a 6-bagger. Next door on 33 and 34. Liz Colkin with 6 out of 8. And a couple of 9 spares. Sam, we appreciate you joining us today. All right, nice shot there from Deandra Asmady. Julia Bond. Actually, everyone on that pair over on 27 and 28. Bond, McEwen, and Ashley Galante. Julia with a 9-spare, 9-spare, 5-bagger. McEwen, double 9-spare, 3-bagger. Galante, strike, 9-spare, picked up some form of 8-count split. She's got a 4-bagger. And just as I say something about it, Danielle leaves a 4-7-10. LJ gave it a run. He has turned 1 into 2, as has Clara G. Daphne 10 again finished 5th at the Queens last week. Oh, my goodness. That's 2 on this pair from different players. Same game, however. Oh. Well, it's starting to get a little weird here. There's some leaves that aren't too cool at the moment. Having said that, let's take a look at the standings. Missy Parkin at plus 582 after the 257 game. Shayna Ung at plus 488. After her 278, Stephanie Johnson has moved into 3rd at plus 361, 225, 223, 232, 268 for Steph J. Valerie Bercier now 4th at plus 358. Jen Higgins is 5th at plus 355. Sydney Brummett 6th at plus 276. Deandra Asbeatty is 7th at plus 274. Daphne 10 is 8th at plus 272. Nice spare. Sandra Gongora is 9th at plus 269. Julia Bond is 10th at plus 255. Diana Zavyalova is 11th at plus 254. Jordan Richard right now the number 12th at plus 231. Danielle McEwen 13th at plus 219. Giselle Poss is 14th at plus 210. Tashina Sorouse is 15th at plus 201. Kelly Kulik is 16th at plus 187. Wade just shot 257. She's at plus 131. So, back to the point about Way, my bad. Well, with a couple games left, you never know. Could be an interesting development if she can put a couple of games together. Goes for a lot of players near that area. Bernice Lim, for example, at plus 137. Jody Westner at plus 139. Ashley Galante pushing. She's at plus 154, and she'll be in the 230s with good count. Dasha 28th at plus 108. If she's thrown shots like that all day and has received the same results, then it's certainly been a tough day. 182, 192, 222, 205 for Dasha. What a game this has been for Brummett. She's put a number in the 1-3. Her 5th 9 count of this game. All right, Claire able to get to 221. As Beatty able to make the adjustment. Nicely done there by Deandra. And Dasha, 204. Clean 204, I might add. Lots of bowling ongoing. We've talked about everywhere, but also on Bowl TV, the Super Senior Classic is ongoing. Aaron Smith out there doing his thing in Las Vegas. Aaron Smith, Daniel Farish, and Matt Cannizzaro out there. Of course, Matt and Daniel, the media relations staff, along with some additional local help at the Open Championships. So if you're going to the OC, as LJ, didn't like this pair. She let a couple get away from her, but she can still get to 180. But if you're going to the OC, be sure to stop by, say hello to our good folks on staff there, and say hello to Matt Cannizzaro and Daniel Farish. Tell them that I told you to say hello to them when you go. Bowl TV fans, be the first to experience Hyper Bowling. Bowling's newest game from Cubica AMF, where the lighted bumpers are actually part of the game. Hit the bumpers, then hit the pins. Hyper Bowling plays like a physical video game on a bowling lane. Now, everyone can play and win because every shot counts every time. Learn more at hyperbowling.com. Cool product from our friends and sponsor, or one of our sponsors, excuse me, Cubica AMF. A shot there from Galante. Got a chance to experience a little bit of Hyper Bowling at the PWBA Tour Championship. It was a good way for the staff to end the week and for us kind of put the stamp on the season. We had talked about having like a year-end, or not a year-end, a season-end, bowling situation where the staff actually would bowl. That was the closest we could get, and that was much better than actual bowling. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Chris P. Chris, man, the people were concerned about you in the chat, so you should thank those people. Oh, look at Clara. The round of 12 is going to be interesting. As it always is, but there's a few players very determined to get some things done this week, I think, and we'll see how it all plays out. And now the challenge is back for the #1 seed at the moment. Missy Parkins still leading the way at plus 585, but Shayna Ung has gone 278, 258. Last two games to get to plus 546. In third, Valerie Bercier plus 353. Stephanie Johnson is fourth